Hello, hello, hello. All right, so we are live. Got a special guest on today, so I'm going to go ahead. Make sure that we are live, share. Share the page. All right, looks like we are up and live. Just making sure. All right, so welcome. I am super excited as we have a very special guest today here on ThriveAbundantly TV. So for those who are tuning in, definitely make sure that you type in the chat. Let us know your city and state where you're tuning in from, or, if you're catching the replay or whatever the case may be. So I'm not going to go too long because we have a special guest and I want her on to, share her amazing story and everything about her. So as I share and, wait for Facebook to do its thing, my name is Lauren L.C. Thriver, the Thriving Entrepreneur. I am the thriving entrepreneur that helps and excel women to take leaps and bounds in their business to the next level without sacrificing time with their family and creating the income that they want from home. So here at ThriveAbundantly TV, we are about a movement. So I definitely wanted to, come on this week and talk about being a queen and an entrepreneur. So all this week, we've been talking about queen talk. We've been talking about different things of knowing the difference as far as authority and power, knowing the difference between the two, not confusing the two. So part one was about the two types of authority from, personal and divine authority, where you should make sure that you understand and know, because if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a queen, you want to go to the next level, you want to remain that, you want to sustain and be there for your family, it's important for you to know what authority is. So I talked about that earlier this week on part one. And then yesterday I talked about the 4 principles of authority, which was, being an author, being, giving yourself authorization, then being authentic and being authorized in that area. So if you missed that, definitely tune in. It's either on my YouTube channel, if you look up LC Thriver, or go onto the page on Facebook at CEO LC Thriver. We talked about that. And today I brought a very special guest because I wanted to really give you guys hands-on something that I can't really give for personal testimony as far as being a mom, being a mother and an entrepreneur, being a queen, standing on the two. So today we have a special guest from Arkansas. Her name is Arriel Bivens-Biggs, Arkansas, correct?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, sorry. From St. Louis, I apologize. So she is from St. Louis, and she is a mom of 2, a wife, and I'm excited to have her. And I have been seeing her precious son been blowing up everywhere, and I asked her, and I'm so thankful for her to take out the time to, be on the show, share her personal testimony, open her doors, and share with you on how she's been able to sustain. Arriel Biggs is the founder of Young Biz Kidz. She has worked with the youth for the last 16 years, and mainly in different roles. She also was a Sunday school teacher. She was a youth leader at a community center and an athletic director of her school. Her question that she always had for children is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most responses that she got was, being an athlete and an entrepreneur. And these are the typical things that we hear within our community. And this was something that really bothered with her, which helped her to take the next leap and excel on starting Young Biz Kidz. And she's going to share her personal testimony about that and why, it led her to lead future young leaders and kids. She's even led her own son to be, his own entrepreneur. He's the best-selling author. He also has his own business. So she's going to share a lot more about that. She is a momager as far as Mikey's manager, and leading him to take excessive, leads. And I just think this is so amazing. And I wanted to have her share her personal testimony on that more. So I bring to you Arriel Biggs out of St. Louis. And thank you so much, Queen, for being on. Could you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited. I'm excited to share my testimony with other women and be in front of an audience of women that are entrepreneurs that might have children that are looking for unique ways to incorporate their children in what they're doing.
Absolutely. And how old are your two children?
I have a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Right. They're so cute. I thought I was going to be able to, but I definitely shared, the pictures of her beautiful, beautiful family. Apparently, when I'm on here, I can't scroll the pictures how I do when I'm by myself. But I love that, you share it with your family and, you just like a power mom, like, making amazing moves. And it seems like you have just an amazing family, a great foundation with your husband. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Arriel Biggs. I'm 35 years old. I retired from a regular job back in December of 2016. My husband plays a strong role in what it is that we do as a family, and that allowed me to retire at an early age so that I can spend more time and focus on the passion that I have with working with youth. Because at my regular job, I didn't work with youth. I worked with people with developmental disabilities, and I enjoyed it. But my heart was always calling out to the youth. I worked with them part-time on the side, which became a full-time job working with the youth. But it was a full-time volunteer job. So my husband was just like, if that's your passion, if that's what you want to do, we need to go for it and we'll make this work. And that's what we did. So, I grew up in a low income housing. They call them the projects. I grew up in the projects. I had my son when I was about 26 years old, I think, maybe 25 years old when I had my son. That relationship broke apart. I married my husband when I was about 27. And from there, we developed a relationship with Christ. We stand on strong foundations on what we should teach our children and how we should teach our children. And we just took off from there. So teaching him that he can do all things through Christ who gives him strength turned into a whole nother meaning, because now he feels like Mikey feels like he can do anything that he puts his mind to, but it came from those basic principles.
That is amazing. And I definitely, here's your crown, Queen. I definitely give it to you. And Arriel is a part of our movement of Boss Queens on the Thrive. For those who, don't know, I've definitely have been sharing about, that particular group and sharing. And you are definitely doing it, Queen. Like I, see that you definitely are Boss Queens on the Thrive. And it's funny that you shared about working with with individuals with disabilities. That's where I started as well. And it's amazing and it's a great opportunity. But I'm glad that, you were, blessed at the point where your husband was able to, sit with you and be able to look for what you're passionate about, and that you're able to, move forward and pay it forward what you've been doing today. And not only instilling that into your family, but the youth as well.
Yeah.
But
no, I said, so I can tell you a little bit more about the nonprofit, which I started a nonprofit. I started with Mikey first, which it started off with just teaching him life skills. I wanted him to be able to live without me being there. So when he becomes an adult, he wouldn't have the same struggles that we had, not understanding financial education, feeling like I have to go work a job that I really don't like. So I
Right.
would give him an option of, okay, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. But during this process, I would talk to other parents and they would say, well, the school, they're not teaching it. So that's really good that you're teaching it. But then when I start thinking about it and talking with teachers, that's not the school's job to teach our children life skills. The school job is to teach them the basic skills, counting, how about history and those things. We are supposed to teach our children how to live and how to survive in the real world. And then the school can add to that, but that responsibility is ours as parents. So that's how this whole thing came about, taking on that responsibility that I can't blame somebody else for what my children don't know. I need to take a position and start to teach them.
Absolutely. That is very powerful and it's really important. And, you know, it's a lot of times that, you know, people miss that, like, you know, the school, it's a system, you know what I'm saying? But we do instill what we want, you know, to instill in our children. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because sometimes I feel like I'm not a parent. I am a godmother and I have nieces and nephews. So I'm glad that, you know, you were sharing that from your perspective as a mom, as well as an entrepreneur, to say, like, it is our responsibility. And like you said, you know, I love what you said as far as like sharing, you know, your background, as far as like you came from humble beginnings, right? So, you know, and like they like to call it the project, right? So that's a whole nother story, or whatever the case may be. But I love that, even though in spite of that, right, it's important that no matter where we come from in our beginnings, like I said, you had the principles and the morals of what you said as far as where you feel, and you took that on, no matter where it is and where you're from, to be able to, you know, build on that. And then you paying that for, as far as your children never even have to go through the things that we have to go through, never have to be at a place where we had to live into the projects or whatever, or work a job where we're not happy. And I'm like big and adamant on, you know, entrepreneurship, building our own, and being able to, you know, start our own business and doing what we actually love. And not to say a job is bad if that's what you're passionate about. It's about being at a space what you really love and want to do. So I love that, you know, you start from the youth. Like I feel like the two main areas to start is with women. And so this is why I talk and share and coach women, because the women is, to me, is like the big staple of the household, so that they can instill that into the children. And then that's how we be able to make massive changes within our you know, just a foundation within the household alone, to be able to expand and make a big difference nationwide.
Yes, and that's how we look at it. We look at, if we can get our household in order, then we can go out and help more people in our community. So we keep a firm foundation. We keep an open line of communication with each other, so we can go help somebody else. We can't help somebody if we're all messed up. So the same thing that we're practicing in our household, that's what we teach outside of our household. And another thing that I wanted to bring up about what you just mentioned, the movement. I'm a part of a wealthy women movement also. And we just talk about wealth building because those conversations are not being had. I know it's a lot of movements out here, but we specifically talk about the financial part and having those financial conversations and how to introduce those conversations to your children. So when you talk to my son, he'll tell you, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire, like with no thought about it, because he says that my parents are already laying the foundation, and this is a 10-year-old that you're talking to, but it's because of what the conversations we have in our household. And sometimes as women, we don't understand, or as mom, we don't understand how to have those conversations with our children without it being over their head. So Mikey understands that the money that he makes is for investment purposes. So he doesn't get to go out and buy $200 tennis shoes. He doesn't get to go out and buy all the toys. Now he does get a $50 allowance every month from the money that he makes. And he wanted a cell phone. So since he wanted a cell phone, he has to pay his own cell phone bill out of that money. He wanted an Xbox Live membership. He has to pay for that membership out of that money. So he has $30 left to do what he wants to do with it. We take care of his needs. he can take care of his wants, but the rest of his money needs to be invested. If he's going to be a millionaire by a certain age, you need to invest. And we teach through entrepreneurship, and I like the approach that we take, because with doing that, we're not taking away from what we're doing as a household. He's learning how to make his own money and start to invest his own money so that he can start seeing that return. So
Absolutely.
we call it parenting through entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes, that is key. And I love that you said, like, it's super important. And it's funny because I feel like, within our people, like we don't have those conversations because it's a lack of what we know. I know for me and my household and just within my family, like it was like, it's this big secret to talk about money. Like, don't talk about your business and, all those things. Don't tell everybody about your money. Everybody gonna want something from you. Like that's a problem, because being that we talk, we're so afraid to talk about money. It sounds strange to say, like when you said, Mikey says, I am going to be a millionaire with confidence, and things like that. It's a space where we were always like, we were like raised to stay quiet about it. And that's the problem where it comes from. So I just love that you're doing that. And it's super important. And the only way to make your money to sustain and grow, we can go on and on. I talked about this when I shared about, one of my lives when I talked about money blueprint. What is your relationship, with money blueprint and things like that? And for anybody, who wants that quiz or anything like that, definitely type in the chat or inbox me or anything. I'll get that quiz out to you, because it's very important. The certain mental principles that we have, that a lot of it came from in our household. Not to say our parents didn't mean any well, but it was something that they didn't know, and it continues to pass down. It's a generational curse. So, Ariel, I commend you being a young mom, because you're breaking a generational curse. And one of the ways important on how to do that is to put yourself amongst others who are having those conversations. Put yourself around, and like the movement. And as I shared, this is why I started Boss Queens on the Thrive, about women entrepreneurs who are thriving to excel. Everything I talk about is about thriving and living abundantly. So I typed in the chat for those who don't know, but if you just go to Boss Queens Thrive.club, CLUB, you'll be able to get, instant access to the group, where Ariel is also, in that particular group. Be able to share, to get in. If we're building that community, you have to put yourself around those individuals. You can't stay in your box, in your circle. One of the things I thought that was super important was like, if the only way you're going to be able to rescue yourself out of the situation is to get out. You can't, that whole, how we typically like, oh, I'm going to stay and be here for my people and da. I love that you took the initiative to go out and do it yourself first. Then you can go ahead and do everything else. So it all starts in the household. And I just love that. And I have a question for you, particularly, with all that you said, we understand, like, your base foundation, what it is that you particularly, started from. And we all know that we have life obstacles, especially, when we're coming from, humble beginnings and coming on. Would you mind, going on and sharing a little bit as far as, like I said, life takes its obstacles on its own. But would you share with us maybe like your two largest obstacles that, you've pretty much faced and overcome within your career and as a mom?
Okay. One of my biggest obstacles was with this journey that we're on, we parent through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a big part of our household. I'm an entrepreneur. My husband's an entrepreneur. My son, finding that support system. So I had friends when we first started this back in 2015, when Mikey first started his business. I thought that they were going to be my support system. So I was leaning on them and thinking that they would be able to help me with certain things. And I'm not talking about in the business, but I'm talking about like having the conversations and coming up with ideas. It didn't work out that way. And I almost lost a friendship over it. So that was a big challenge for me, because I didn't understand, why don't you see this? Why don't you see the significance in this? But entrepreneurship is not her strong point. Her mind is not about being a business owner, and she could care less about being a business owner. But I tried to put her in a position that she didn't want to be in and had no desire to be in. So that was a challenge for me to understand. No, everybody should be entrepreneurs, but everybody is not. So how I overcame that was I got with a network of people who had like minds, and that's how I met you back in February. I don't know, you probably don't remember meeting me.
No, I remember you.
But we met back in February, and it's just like a like-minded group of people. I still love my friend, love her to death. She calls me, prays with me all the time. We take our children out together. But when it comes to entrepreneurship and parenting through entrepreneurship, that's a total different thing. So that was a challenge for me. And that's how I was able to overcome it by joining a network of people who have the same type of mindset, just entrepreneurial, not necessarily parenting, but that entrepreneurial mindset, and that can support me.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's like, you got to make sure that it's okay to, everybody doesn't want to do entrepreneurship, even though like, to you and I, it just doesn't make sense. And the way the world is set up, it's kind of like, this is your way out. But, there's times where people just don't get it. And if you're speaking two different languages, you got to know where to certain language to certain people. So I can, totally agree on that point. And you just got to know where to share, that particular language with certain people. So like you said, like, we are a part of, the group where we could have that conversation, where you and I, we were at the same, particular event where we could have that conversation and talk about these things, where you and I are able to now get here on, live and share with others who are like-minded in the same space to do that. So it is really important, but it is unfortunate at times when it does have to come to that point that you lose a friendship. And I'm glad that even still, in spite of that you were still able to, use your friend where you need them, and not say use, but have your friend where you need them, like still able to pray for you, but they just don't understand that conversation.
And then asking them the role that they play. I put her in a position, but her role was support. She said, I just want to support. If you have an event, I'll come to the event. I'll buy stuff from you guys. I'm there. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I just don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to have a role in this. I don't want to do this. It was like, you know what, as a friend from my end, I should have asked her,
right,
and where do you fit it, instead of putting her where I think she should, where I thought she should be. And then another thing with that is some people confuse being a business owner with entrepreneurship. When we teach entrepreneurship, we're teaching from a problem solving standpoint. If you are able to solve a problem or see a problem and come up with a positive solution, you are an entrepreneur. So you don't necessarily have to have your own business. You can work a job for somebody else and become that entrepreneur on the job. So we have to make sure that we keep it in a perspective that just because you own a business don't mean that you're an entrepreneur. I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. Just because you can paint well doesn't mean that you're a business owner, because it's so much more than being a business owner. When you are a business owner, it's good to have an entrepreneurial mindset, because you look at everything as not, this is a problem, this is a problem. You say, this is a challenge. And with this challenge, I'm going to find the solution to it. And just before we started this meeting, my phone wasn't working right. My computer froze up. And I was like, okay, I need a solution to this. I might have to go on this interview through my phone. But I wasn't like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. No, as the entrepreneur in me was like, okay, this not working. What's the next step? I'm not going to spend my time focusing on this. I'm going to focus on what I can do. So as just that entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah, you got to be wise. I mean, for people who follow my page, I'm always having technical difficulties and things. You just got to, I mean, the thing is like, all right, take a deep breath. You can't cry over spilled milk and just figure it out. Like, you can't, or you're not going to make it. I actually had a client before, and told him, like, do you really, do you feel as though you're an entrepreneur? Is this what you particularly want? Because an entrepreneur and a boss, pretty much, and not saying a boss like who, has this job per se, but, you got to always, you can't be stuck on the problem. You always have to find a solution. So I appreciate you, because, we were having a little technical difficulty. So we got on, a little late. And I love that you said, necessarily being an entrepreneur doesn't always mean being a business owner. I was an entrepreneur way before I even started my own business. I started in network marketing, and I'm proud to say it. People can say everything that they want about network marketing. I flew in all different kinds of companies, and I've done it for about, I started about 12 years ago, and it helped me to develop the entrepreneur mind, to believe in myself, to start my own business. And I started my own business. I quit and retired from corporate America. I think I might have been 26, 27. I need to get that story to the T. But about like 2011 was when I finally like took that, jump or whatever, and, fully go on. But it took a while for me to be a full out my own business owner, but I was able to still get the training, the education and things like that. So that's super important there. So, okay. So the next thing that I wanted to ask is specifically, I wanted to share for parents. I know I just have you here today. And we're talking to queens, but we do have, men on as well. So this is very, informative for everybody. And I thank you guys for tuning in. And please keep sharing and commenting. Thank you, Chris Dior, for on and sharing other people. Hello, Carla. Definitely state your city and state where you're tuning in from. But I wanted to ask you this, Ariel. So, for parents who are wanting to teach their children about entrepreneurship and finance, at what age, with what subject would you recommend they start at?
Ooh, my daughter is 2, and we're already teaching her, and she's 2 years old. But it's simple things with just the counting. When you're teaching to count, pull out pennies and start counting those pennies. And then when you get to 5, when she's ready to start counting by 5s, then you pull out nickels and you start counting by 5 so she can make that correlation that these numbers that I'm talking about or that I'm learning about have meaning than just in a rhythmic tune. It's meaningful. This is how we count money. This is how we do this. And I think the math part is the most important. But no, let me go back to just those life skills, because in entrepreneurship, you do budgeting, you do making lists, you do goal setting. So at 2 years old, I can set a goal with my daughter. You can learn how to count to 5 by this time. And if you do this, this would be your reward. So starting with that. And then my son, he started when he was 7, and his goal was to make $100. Well, he made $1,200, but the goal was to make $100, and it just exploded from there. So I would say goal setting. So not a certain subject, but goal setting as it relates to the subjects that they would learn in school.
Okay. And just tell us really quick a little bit more about Mikey. What is his book? You say he started at 7, and I know he has like a vending machine. So just share us a little bit about Mikey.
Well,
I'm just letting y'all know real quick. I'm gonna do my plug. I did this before Oprah. This lady gonna be on Oprah, Steve Harvey, Ellen, you name it. So just make sure y'all know she was here on ThriveAbundantly TV.
Right. Right. So Mikey started at about 5 years old asking for a lemonade stand. We kept telling him no, that he's too young. And when he turned 7, he was still adamant about having a lemonade stand. But at this time, he was like, well, can I have a vending machine business? I said, you didn't went from a lemonade stand to a vending machine business. No. And
it was his idea?
Yeah, that was his idea.
Wow.
That was his idea.
I'm in my 30s. I probably found out somewhere mid-20s that you can have your vending machine business. I just thought it was like a big corporation that did that. I need to have your son on this show too.
So he started. Wow. I told him, I said, well, Mikey, do a business plan, do your marketing plan. Let us know how you're going to make this money, and then we'll get you a vending machine, right? That boy came back to us with the marketing plan, with the business plan, how he was going to do it, who he was getting a loan from. It was amazing. I was just like, oh my goodness, we're going to have, and when me and my husband was sitting in the room one night, I said, we're going to have to buy this boy a vending machine.
Wow.
But
that is amazing.
He did the lemonade stand, and the particular day that he got a business partner. He had a really close friend from school. they became business partners. They set up the lemonade stand on a Saturday, and just so happened next door to where they were set up was a store that sold the new Jordans that was coming out that Saturday morning. So it was this long line of people waiting to buy the Jordans. They set up right next door to them and start going over and telling them, while you're waiting, come buy some of this lemonade. Come get this lemonade. So they were
Smart.
coming over buying this lemonade, and before you know it, we were out of lemonade, totally out. And then when we got home and started counting the money, I said, oh my goodness, you guys made a whole lot of money. And then from there, they had to split the money because they were business partners. But from there, he said, okay, now I'm ready for my vending machine. So then we had to have another conversation with him. Okay, Christmas is coming up. Do you want your vending machines or do you want Christmas gifts? He said, well, I want my vending machines, because we talked and didn't realize that he listened, but we talked cash by asset that's going to produce you more cash. So he was thinking that, okay, I'll get the vending machines and then I'll be able to make my own money and then I can buy what I want to buy. And it was just like, wow, he's really paying attention and he's really listening to what me and my husband was talking about. So it's like, okay, so we bought him 2 vending machines. He went networking, and at the networking event, it was a lady. I was standing upstairs. Mikey wandered downstairs. He was talking to this lady, and I heard the lady say, who child is this? And we're at a networking event. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I said, what did he do? She was like, no, he didn't do anything. But he said that he has a vending machine business. And I said, well, he does. And but at the time, he didn't have any vending machines. I'm like, yeah, he does. And so she said, well, I know a place that can place his vending machines if you guys are willing to place. I said, okay, well, let's do an interview and see how this works. So we did the interview and the lady wanted the machine. So then we were a little bit short because those machines was like $3,000, like a couple $1,000. I think they were like $3,200.
Okay.
So we had to go and do some more fundraising. So we got on the phone and started calling family and friends like, hey, do you want to donate for Mikey? Do you want to sponsor something for Mikey? They all agreed. Mikey got the money and went and placed those 2 machines. Well, Mikey started making money from those 2 machines, but then Mikey decided he wanted 2 more machines from there. So Mikey got 2 more machines from the money that he was making. So Mikey is a ball of fire. When Mikey wants something, and he believes, because of what we speak over him, we speak good things over him. We speak that you are going to be a millionaire. You are going to break generational curses. You are a leader in your community. So Mikey gives 10% of what he makes back to the community.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. That is amazing. So he has 3 vending machines.
He has 4 now. He had 5, but we end up letting one go. So he has 4 now. And then from there, we talked to him, and his 3rd grade teacher, I work really closely with the teachers at the school, and she said, Mikey reads very well, but he's struggling with his writing. So we had Mikey to start journaling. Well, he was journaling about being a Christian kid, but he was still kind of struggling. But once we changed his focus and said, well, you write about what you like write about your entrepreneurial journey, write about. Once he started writing about that, we was like, okay, he has a story that he needs to tell to people, because he was already in the mindset that little people can do big things too. We could do big things. He was already talking about it. So I said, okay, let's put this in a story. Let's do so. We got with his graphic designer, and the graphic designer said, you know what, let's get with a creative writing coach so that we can make this all come together. It's still Mikey's story, but let's pull some ideas like out of Mikey's imagination and how this should work. So in the story, the briefcase is actually me, his mom, but nobody wants to meet the mom. So everything that's being taught to Mikey is being taught through the briefcase, because in Mikey's mind, he wanted it like Dora and Diego, the backpack, and the everything in the backpack. So I said, oh, that is so cool, Mikey. So he's all excited because everybody is on board with him, and he has this huge support system around him, supporting him with these big ideas that he had. But keep in mind, as parents, we didn't know how this was going to happen and how we were going to support him in this. But with the network of people we had, we learned about leveraging money. We learned how to make our credit work for us. We learned that we don't have to put all of our cash up to make projects. Right. So just being in this network, it's just been amazing for us in the things that we're doing with Mikey. So we started it as a family, but this is a community collective thing of people coming together to support Mikey. So
Wow.
I think it's all
Wow.
as a mom.
Hey, take it. So when did he start? Like, when did the book launch, and how could people find this book?
The book launched May 19th, so it's been out almost a month now. He
That was the day before my birthday.
he sold about 320 copies as of today.
Okay.
And you can find it on Amazon.com. Or you can go to his website, MikeyKnowsBiz.com, where you can get an autographed copy of his book.
Okay. So I'm going to put it on the screen, Mikey Knows
Biz.
Biz.com.
Yes.
All right. So make sure that you guys go ahead and, check out the book, get the book for your kids, definitely support. Wow, this is just, and get an autographed copy, because just know and understand Mikey is going to be something just to even be able to do the things that you just shared, and him having a business plan and doing everything at 7 years old. He's now 10. It's just, that's pretty amazing. Like, I mean, if you ask a 30, 40, sometimes 50-year-old, they probably don't even know what to do, or, even start thinking about that and go on. So that is amazing. I really just commend you guys as a family.
I said, and he's an Amazon best-selling author also.
Yeah. Drop them nuggets. That is amazing. that is just powerful. And I just really
network. Like I said, it's the network that we belong to, because we all are entrepreneurial minded. Yeah. We want to teach the next generation on what they can do and show that these things are possible. So it's the network that did it and helped us, because I shared, then you guys were sharing, everybody was sharing, everybody was like, help Mikey.
Right.
We need to come together as a community to help Mikey reach his goal. And it brought tears to my eyes as a mom, because I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know them, like to where we can pick up the phone and call. But,
right, but still, you don't need that.
It's just like, you know what? We have to support this. And everybody felt a need to support. And it was overwhelming for me as a mom, because it's just like, this is my baby, but this is everybody's baby, because he's going to open the door for other people. It's not selfishly being done. He's doing what he's doing so that he can open the door for other children to have the same opportunities. But then it goes back to the seeds that you sow also, because I work with youth all the time. I sow into youth all the time, my time and talking to them. And it's just like, it's coming back around. I just never thought in this way, to where my son is a superstar celebrity, like they're like, oh, that's Mikey's mom. I'm not Ariel anymore. That's
Mikey's mom. Absolutely. Thank you, Carla, for typing in the chat for his website. So, like you said, it's your network. I always tell people, this is why I always share the communities and the networks and stuff that I'm part of, and things like that, because your network and being authentic with it, not just getting in a network to try to get people to buy into you and stuff, because people can smell that. And that's what I talked about the last 2 days, the difference of, authenticity, the difference of being authorized to use your authenticity and having that power. So I talked about that the last 2 days. And the reason why Mikey and you and your family has been able to, soar and be able to have the things that, have just been opening up, because one, you guys were authentic with your faith. You were, you guys were being authorized to use your faith and use your talents and your gift. When I talked about the two types of authority, I said that you have a personal authority, which is like your, what you're born with or whatever the case may be. But then you have a divine authority where you have to pursue it. You guys pursued it. Mikey has this, personal authority within himself where he's had this gift. Like he's just wired that way to even think the thing. And you guys pursued it. Then you guys remain authentic to keep into the network. Your network is your net worth. I can't stress that enough. When people ask, how do you do it? If you ask Ariel, how does she do it? How do you get that? It's getting amongst like-minded people. Get out of your circle, connect with others, and do so. So I'll share a little plug again about our network of what we are as far as Boss Queens Thrive.club. Definitely go in. There's 3 questions that is going to be asked for you to, be able to get into the group and just connect. And like I said, this group is very strict. It's not no funny business. Don't come in, try and sell and stuff, because people are going to be able to feel that. They're going to smell that. We're about really creating just figure out how ways we have to come and, pretty much be like glue, come together, thrive together, and be able to excel. So Queen Arriel, please close us out with some few words of encouragement for women and moms there, entrepreneur moms out there.
I wrote something down, but I'm just going to speak from my heart. I'm just believe that you can do it and you will be able to do it. That's strictly from my heart, because as moms, sometimes we think that I have to take care of my kids. I have to do this. I have to go do it. We multitask. We do so many things, but we really have to believe that, you know what, this thing is going to get me out of this rat race. This thing is going to get me to the next level. This group or this network that I have to join for this little bit of fee will get me to a place where I can close the door on that 9 to 5 and walk really in my purpose. Do it, do it, make a way to get it done. Because if you don't, you're going to look back 5 years and say, you know what, I'm still in the same spot. I'm still in the same position, but the other people around me are thriving. Why? Because they took the necessary steps to move forward. So my encouragement to moms, entrepreneurs, take those steps to invest in yourself to move forward. Join the communities that are out here to help you learn about financial education, because the goal of entrepreneurship is to free your time and to make more money than what you would have made working for somebody else. So you have to connect yourself with groups that are teaching about how do I maximize my returns on my money? How do I start to invest? Is it time for me to start investing? Do I have an emergency fund? Just thinking about all of those things, because sometimes we think that we're ready for something and we're not. So the first step to me would be believing that you can and you will be able to do it, but then connecting to a group that of women or a network who's been through what you're trying to go through, so they can help you with seeing, take this step or don't take this step. You're ready. You can do this, but this is not the right time for this. And being genuine. The groups that I'm in, they're genuine about, you know what, Arriel, that's a good idea. You're very entrepreneurial at mine, but it's not the right time for that. Take a step back and do these basic things first. My nonprofit that I run is like blowing up. I've had it for about a year. We've gotten 3 grants. We've gotten interviews. We just had somebody come and tape a commercial for us because of the things that we're doing. But I've learned so much from the network that I connected myself with, that you should be doing this, this, and that. I was able to incorporate it and believing that I can do it, even if I didn't know in my mind how I was going to do it, but I believed, and it was able to happen. So I get so many people asking me, how did you get the nonprofit up and running and it's doing what it's doing? I'm like, because I believe, and then my network that I'm connected to allowed me to do the things that I'm doing.
Right. And they will be honest. I had those conversations in our network to be like, you ain't ready for this yet, or whatever the case may be. So it's just important to always do that. And, Arriel, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, for you guys, this was this very special interview. So, we went a little longer than we usually do, but we needed this time because we needed this information. I hope to see you again here on Thrive Abundantly TV. I wish all the best for you guys. Like, again, tell us how we can get in contact with you, Arriel.
Okay. You can go to youngbizkidz.org, and that's kids with a Z. That's how you can get in contact with me about the nonprofit, because we teach children entrepreneurship online. So if you're looking for a place to start and getting your kids started and how to start their own business, or even just how to parent through entrepreneurship, you can go to youngbizkidz.org. It's kids with a Z though.
Oh, sorry.
It's kids with a Z. But you can go there, and then to find Mikey, it's Mikey Knows Biz. And in the program, we have about 32 kids, but 16 of them have their own business. And this Saturday, they'll be out selling their products to the community. the goal is for all of them to make at least $100. So we've been working and going and having training classes to make sure that these children are ready so that they can apply those life skills that they've learned.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, just definitely all the best. And I love to you. I look forward to seeing you in June, in next week.
Yes.
All right. So I'll see you next weekend. Stay tuned because we'll be real cute and queenie in our pictures. And, definitely tune in tomorrow. We're going to have some more Queenpreneur talk this week on ThriveAbundantly TV. Like I said, you can find me on CEO LC Thriver on Facebook. And tune in tomorrow at 12:30. I thank you so much, Queen, for taking out the time to come on here. And like I said, MikeyKnowsBiz.com and Young Biz Kidz with a Z. Definitely to reach out to Ariel. So we love you guys. Keep thriving. Keep going after what you want. And, that's what we're here for. You got to bring the network. We're all about boss queens on the thrive. So you guys have an amazing, what's today, Wednesday, and we'll see you soon. Okay. Ariel, don't get off. Don't get off real quick.
You will.